OK, hi everyone. So I'm going to talk today about open buckets. If you don't know what it is yet, it's fine. I didn't know either. So who am I? My name is Michal Kamensky. I'm a computer science student at the Technion, and I'm working at a student position at a cyber intelligence, analyst. So I would like to start this presentation the same way I started my job interview for the role. I don't know anything. I don't want to mislead anyone. I want to walk you through my journey. So when I say anything, I really mean anything. When I started with Linux, I tried to type in my password and couldn't figure out why I wanted to get typed in. And nothing would show up on the screen. It took me quite a while to figure out that's just the way it works in Linux. So my purpose here today is to walk you through my journey. I will do that by walking you through some case studies from my work that will be more technical. And, well, that's it. Let's begin. So what's a bucket? A bucket is a database that is stored in the cloud. And the problem is many companies just misconfigure their buckets and leave them completely open for anyone to access them with just a web browser. So that's what a bucket looks like in the browser. Just a list of files. This is a picture I took from an article I found on Google. You can see the credit just right below the picture. And many companies, I was surprised to find it out, just leave a lot of sensitive information, a lot of customer information, their employees' information, just open for anybody. So the first case study I want to talk about is this airline. They left their bucket open on the web. And what did we find in there? There were many, many terabytes of files. For example, there was source code with passwords and keys. I don't know a lot, but I don't think that you're supposed to put your passwords inside your code. Here's a screenshot. Of course, I redacted the parts that shouldn't be public, that they did leave public. Their AWS keys, their passwords, API keys, everything. There were airplane navigation and landing source code, including equations for calculating landings of airplanes that had writing permissions. Just anyone could go and change the source code for the landing of an airplane. There were security procedures from various airports around the world. And there was an alert system to send urgent messages and alerts for pilots while they're flying midair, and many more. OK, so there is all this source code. There are APK files, there are Java files. I've been told to find passwords, keys. I don't know how to do that. I've been told to look for secrets. I thought they meant stuff that should be left secret. I didn't realize it was like a professional term that meant passwords and keys. After I realized that, I knew better how to Google. When I knew the terminology, I could know what I should look for and what I should learn. So I found this open source tool. There are many open source tools for analyzing information, for finding anything you want to do. You barely need to write anything new yourself in this world of tools. So I use this open source tool called APK-Leaks, and it just reverses the code of the APK files and finds automatically passwords and keys. For example, Amazon keys, they all start with IKEA, and then it's one way you can find keys in the data, and it just prints out everything you need to find. So this was a bucket that was kind of different from other buckets that I was working before. It just made me realize how bad the situation is with leaving just any information open. Why would anyone leave that open? And there are so many other buckets just like that open out there. You just can't get to all of them. You don't necessarily need some brand new zero-day to attack or to find sensitive information. You can just, by misconfiguration of buckets or other systems, get a lot of information. And I'm no expert, but I think that's something that could get abused by terrorists, and it's good that it got closed. So the thing I like most about my job is the attribution. It's to find who the owner of the bucket is. It feels like a puzzle, something you need to figure out. You need to search for it. You need to think creatively. So it can be difficult, but it's the most interesting part. Sometimes it's really obvious. For example, if it says just BSidesTLV in the bucket name, you can assume with a certain certainty that it belongs to BSides. Okay? But it's not always that simple. So I want to talk about a case study that involved a bucket full of student records. Student names, their ID numbers, and their grades in various courses. So the bucket name included the word Israel. All the newest files in the bucket were from the same academic institution in Israel, and it was live. It was still, there were still new files uploaded every day, and all of them were from this same institution, academic institution in Israel. So it seems pretty obvious, right? It probably belongs to this academic institution. But not so fast. While I was just sampling some files to see what's in there, I encountered an invoice. It was an invoice from company A to company B. Both of them were from a foreign country. None of them related in any way to Israel. None of them related to this academic institution. It was weird. Like, why would it be in the bucket? So I sent this invoice to my team leaders. They told me it's the bucket of this academic institution. You need to go over it quickly, and we will send it for remediation, so it will get closed as soon as possible. But I sent it to them, and I was like, wait a second. How do you know it belongs to this academic institution? Why don't you think it might be something else? For example, I found this invoice. Why would it be there? But again, I'm a newbie. I don't know anything. Who am I to challenge them? Am I just being stubborn? they have a lot of experience. If they're saying, no, whatever, leave it, should I just leave it? Or should I keep going or investigating it or whatever? But so I said, OK, they know better, but my brain is still itchy. So just for myself, I will go over, I will understand why they believe it belongs to this academic institution. I will just ease my mind. So I started going over the files. There are millions of files. You can't go over all of them, even if you wanted to. And of course, I didn't want to. That's not non-ethical. So what can I do? I looked at the files. I tried to see if there was something that stood out. First of all, I looked at the dates. I saw that all the old ones belonged to academic institutions from a foreign country. And all the new ones belong to this academic institution here in Israel. And I managed to find the exact date when the switch happened. Second, I kept looking for things that would stand out. I don't want to just go over millions of student records. It's not interesting. I want to find some proof who this bucket belongs to. I don't want to report to some random academic institution about this open bucket if it's not their bucket. So I noticed that the invoice that I found had a slightly different name scheme than all the other files. They all were just random strings, but there was something different about this name scheme. So I looked at other files who had the same name scheme. Most of them were just a bunch of stock photos. It didn't help me much. But then some of them were screenshots that had some it was some documents of a company that was verifying student records. So I Googled the name of this company. I found two websites. The first one was a global website. It was of this foreign country that this company verifies student records in this country. And the second one was with the ending of COIL. And this website was verifying student records for this academic institution in Israel. So I just was telling you the road that finally worked. But it wasn't that easy. It took a lot of trial and error. So I just found myself at 3 a.m. in the morning screaming at my computer, ping pot. I was really proud of myself that I found something that much more experienced people, my team leaders, didn't find. I wasn't proud of myself because of the technical steps. None of them were more than basic. I was proud of myself that I wasn't scared to research on my own, that I didn't just say, they probably know better, I should just listen to them and leave this alone. And of course, I didn't have anything to be scared of. They were happy I did that. They were proud of me. And that's something I think is very important for a company that employs juniors, to have this kind of atmosphere. OK, a few other stuff that I found really cool at my job during these few months I'm working there is that a lot of the boring stuff can be automated. The research, most of the time, can't be, or at least not in a really simple way. But other stuff can be. I got really excited about regular expressions. They were mind-blowing, first in a bad way, because they were a little annoying. But when I got the hang of it, it was really cool that you can just, with a few rules, get exactly the data you want, exactly what you're looking for. Other cool stuff I found is that without any tools, anything special, just with using source code, you can find open buckets on websites. You can see in the network tab, in the DevTools, what sources they're calling to retrieve images. You can use that to see where they're calling them from, and sometimes those buckets are open. Also, most companies are not very creative with their names of their buckets. Most of the times, it's just company's name, production, or prod. And if you find one, there are probably other ones. No one just misconfigures just this bucket but by mistake. If you know how to configure it, you do it. So if you find prod, you probably will find non-prod and stuff like that. So I started there. I didn't know how to type a password into the Linux terminal. And after 2 months, I got to where I'm here right now. To these case studies, they were just 2 months after I started my job. I want to conclude this first by my experience that you can learn a lot when you're just a beginner. Everything is new to you. Everything is interesting. You can just learn really fast. Also, the company culture is really important to make the juniors feel that they can contribute, that they will be heard, that they can just speak their mind, and that they won't be dismissed. Also, it's important to make friends that are at the same stage as you are, that maybe were at the same stage that you are just a year ago or two, to not take this journey alone. And there are no shortcuts, just learn your own and keep trying. And about the technical stuff, the main thing I learned, there are all this cool stuff, all these vulnerabilities, 0 days, but at the end, the main vulnerabilities are just stuff that gets misconfigured, and you can find a lot of sensitive data this way, and that's it. So I want to thank BSides. I wasn't planning on talking here, actually. My friends pressured me to talk here, but I'm glad I did, and somehow I got accepted. And I want to thank my team for being supportive, and I want to thank you for being such a great audience. And that's it.